Hello, scientists! Today, we will develop a sample project to learn about the scientific and engineering process. After this video, you will be ready to plan your own research project. First, we need to pick our general topic. It should be something that you are passionate about. Think of hobbies, future careers, or something from your daily life that makes you want to ask questions or make change in your community. For this example, we are passionate about cars, and in the next step, we will focus our interest into a more specific topic. Now, we will write a general question about our topic. First, we need to understand our topic better, so we need to do literature research. Look for trustworthy sources, like peer-reviewed papers and books. Ask a teacher or other mentor to double-check if a source is trustworthy. Earlier, we decided our interest was cars, but after some more literature research, we are most curious about how to make cars more efficient. Vehicle efficiency just means a car can go further with less gas. So our general question is, how can we make a car run more efficiently? Remember that this is just the first version of our question, and we will continue to develop it in the next step. Now that we have a general question, we need to decide if we want to complete a science experiment or an engineering project. Let's start with a science experiment. A science experiment requires collecting data to answer a testable question. We can turn our general question into a testable question with this format. How does blank affect blank? Let's turn our example into a testable question. We will reformat our question to, how does a driving surface affect car efficiency? Now that we have a testable question, we need to develop a test where we can control variables to see the results. The independent variable is the thing that we will change between our trials. It is usually the first blank in our testable question. In this example, the road surface is the independent variable, so we will change the road surface in our different trials. The dependent variable is the thing that changes in response to the independent variable. It is also what we measure. It is usually the second part of our testable question. In this example, our dependent variable is car efficiency. Let's also consider that most students cannot drive cars. You might have an interest that you cannot explore directly, and you might have to use a model of the real thing. Since we can't use real cars and a real road for this test, we will use toy cars and sample surfaces. Instead of gas, we will just push the toy cars. Now, we need to devise a test where we can change the driving surface, measure driving time, but keep every other variable the same. For your experiment, you will have to spend a lot of time devising this test. Take lots of notes, make drafts, and really plan it out. For our example, we are going to choose our test car and a selection of different driving surfaces, like concrete, asphalt, and sandpaper. Our independent variable is driving surface, so we need to change the driving surface for each trial. Our dependent variable is how long the car will drive with a single push, so we will measure distance in centimeters. We'll use this data to build our graphs. And here we have the first draft of our science experiment. Notice how we made a testable question, defined our variables, devised a test, and controlled our other variables. With this method, you can collect data to answer your testable question. Now, what if instead our research and interests led us to a problem we'd like to solve instead of a question to answer? Our project would be more like an engineering project. An engineering project involves building something to answer a problem statement. Let's talk about how we develop that. A problem statement is a clear definition of the thing you want to improve. Let's stick with our original question from before we made a science experiment. Our problem statement could read, toy cars are less efficient because of their wheels. To address this problem, we need to define success. Consider what needs to occur for your problem to be solved. For our example, we can define success as the cars traveling a greater distance on the track. So we will measure the distance the cars travel in centimeters. Now, we need to plan our construction. This will require models and drafts. After the planning phase comes the first construction. Next, run a trial and take the measurements to determine success. Then, go back to the drawing board and make changes to your original design. An engineering project will require repetition and multiple versions to make the best solution. With this method, we can begin to solve our problem statement. Before we wrap up, let's discuss how science experiments and engineering projects can overlap. The research process is messy and can require pieces from both types of research. For example, you may need to build something to collect data, or collect data to build something. This is why it is so important to take detailed notes, collect data, and be transparent about what happens during the research process. Scientists and engineers borrow techniques from each other all the time. They also make errors and are incorrect all the time. The most important thing is to acknowledge it, explain your reasoning, and explain how everything could have affected your results. Let's review everything we have learned today. 1. Focus on your personal interests. 2. Create a testable question or a problem statement. 3. Take detailed notes and write plans. And 4. Blur the lines between science and engineering. We hope that with this introduction, you can feel more confident as you begin your own research project. Good luck, scientists!